Hi and welcome back to my channel, and in this video I'm going to be talking about how I set up a CIC in 2012 and how I was able to be successful for 10 years getting grant funding every year for 10 years from multiple funders to do really interesting projects that I loved and I was passionate about. I came from being a probation officer, quitting my job, to basically designing my own career and just doing really amazing, impactful projects in the community. So in this video, I'm going to be going over that, and I'm also going to be giving you my 5 reasons why I think I was successful off the bat. So I hope this video will inspire any of you that are thinking of setting up community interest companies and how you can think about designing the right idea that will be successful. Think about what you're bringing to the table in terms of skills and what your team is bringing, and how you can grow a sustainable CIC long term. Now, before I get into that, I will mention, please hit the subscribe button. And also I've got a free masterclass this Sunday at 7 o'clock where I'm going to be doing like an introduction to CICs, telling you everything you need to get started. So join that, it's free. And I'm going to be giving you loads of interesting information in there. So that aside, let's get into it. So let's go back 2012. I was a probation officer. Now this was right before the probation service got privatised. Now this was a really good time to jump ship for me. Everything just kind of timed out right. So we were facing as probation officers a lot of challenges and uncertainties, and things did go very wrong for the probation service at that time. Now that wasn't why I set up a CIC and jumped ship. It's actually been something that had been bubbling away for a while. So I had designed this rap therapy work that I've been doing with prisoners, and I'd got an award for that, an innovation award. So the probation service gave me that award, and that really sparked the fuse to get me thinking, actually, I have a future outside being a probation officer. I could take this into a whole nother direction. And a colleague of mine told me about community interest companies. They said, look, you can set up a community interest company, you can get grant funding, and you can go and just do what you've designed and what you're passionate to do. And you can just leave your job, go get grant funding, and essentially just do what you want. So obviously that was very appealing to me. So I looked into it, and yeah, I found that that was the path that I wanted to pursue. Now, alongside those elements, I'd also been doing photography in my spare time. So I'm a very creative person. I was a photographer, I'd done a course in photography, and I was also really keen to pursue a career as a photographer as well. So there are a few different elements there that basically draw me to thinking, yeah, being self-employed, setting up my own business, that's definitely the path for me. As a creative person, I can do my photography, I can set up the work that I wanted to do with rap therapy, and I could do all of those things, get grant funding for some of that, and also gain income from being a photographer, and I'd probably be able to at least match my probation officer salary. So that's what I did. So I set up 2 companies. I set up an LTD for my photography, and then I set up CIC, 4 Elements it was called. And what I did is I combined my probation officer work, the rap therapy work, and I basically set up a peer-to-peer music studio where young people could come, they could record their music videos with me. I was filming and doing their photography for their music videos and for their portfolios. And those young men were able to hopefully, the idea was that they would grow hopefully a hobby and steer them away from crime, unemployment, hopefully get them to start their own businesses and be independent. So I absolutely loved doing that work. It was just something that I was really passionate about. I saw the impact it was having on the young people that were engaging with the project. We created basically a music scene down here in Cornwall. It was a grime scene. We created a YouTube channel, and I recorded the videos, and it just built a scene. And it was something that we were all of us that were involved in, really enjoyed and were really passionate and absolutely loved. It had loads of benefits. Loads of young men who came to the programme had never worked. They gained work experience. They ended up getting jobs. It was something that had clearly a lot of impact. And then for me personally, my impact that it had on my life was transformative. I mean, the fact that I was my own boss, the fact that I could just pursue my creative passions, I could just design what I wanted, work when I want, do what I wanted. It was just amazing. And in terms of income, with my photography income, because I started doing weddings photography and doing some other photography paid work. So combined with the grant funding I was getting for the CIC and my own LTD, I was on more of an income than I was as a probation officer. So yeah, I definitely soared to around 40,000 fairly quickly. I'd been on around 30, just under 30,000 as a probation officer, and pretty instantly I was on around 40,000. So straight away, it was a benefit, and that is something then that just grew every year. So over the years, I became more savvy when it comes to grant funding. I designed various different projects. I didn't just do this stuff with the music studio and the photography. I expanded. I did a job club where I used some of my skills as a probation officer to help people do CVs, interviews, job club type work. I then did other great creative projects along the way. I ended up doing a lot of street art projects, doing street art with young people, which is something that absolutely young people really love. They were really good art workshops. And I did ceramics, I did other photography, various different art forms. I also went abroad. I spent quite a lot of time going to Gambia. I went every year for a few years. That was something that was really important to me. I did my photography there, and I also did some videography for a charity that were helping young people get into education and go through school. And then while I was there, I raised money for schools to do some rebuilding work. So that was something that I absolutely loved. I love traveling and I love seeing other cultures and communities. So that was one of my favourite projects that I did over the years. I've also done lots of history and heritage projects. I've done quite a few local history projects that have been Heritage Lottery funded as well. And what I love, I think, about having a CIC is the fact that I've been able to, over the years, just, and I've got ADHD, you can probably guess that. So my attention span is fairly small. So I'll do a project, I'll love it, and then I'll have another idea and go off and do another project. And so for me, having a CIC has been really able to sort of tap into that ADHD sort of tendencies and use it as a positive, whereas if I was in a job it would be a negative because I would become bored, frustrated, my attention wouldn't be good in that job, so I might not be as productive because I'm not as interested. So I think that especially if you are somebody who is neurodivergent, I definitely highly recommend a CIC. So that's kind of a summary of the success I've had over the years. So what do I think are the 5 things that I think helped me be successful straight off? So number 1, I would say that I brought a lot of skills from my job as a probation officer. Having had that work experience just gave me lots of skills in writing. So it helped me write my applications because I was used to writing reports and stuff. I understood a lot of the jargon and stuff that would be used in those applications. I also had a lot of work experience working with, obviously being an offender manager, working in courts, working in prisons. That kind of experience was very transferable. And a lot of the work I did as a probation officer could transfer into group work sessions or project work as a CIC owner. And also I just had a lot of experience working with different agencies, prisons, police, all of those types of things. So when I became a CIC owner, I was able to obviously network quite easily with those projects in my area. And then number 2, I had an innovative idea. So my rap therapy kind of sparked it all. That innovative idea was something that was unique. It was something that was mine, and I was able to grow that. So that innovative idea was definitely one of the launching factors. Then number 3 was the other creative hobbies and interests and skills that I picked up. So obviously being a photographer, those were things that I then, mixed into my CIC. So my creative hobbies also really helped. And they also helped diversify things, so I was able to get other forms of grant funding. Had I just been a probation officer going into this, it might have been more limited, but because I was also then an artist and a photographer, I was able to go for Arts Council and diversify my projects and do a wider scope of work. And then number 4, I would say, was the community engagement. So the fact that I had a project, innovative idea, and there was a community that wanted it. So there were a lot of young men that wanted to engage with my project. They wanted to have the studio time, engage with the activities that I was designing to help them get into work, to help them get music videos for free, to get their photography for their music. So those were things that really built their self-confidence and stuff as well. So definitely, I think I had the right project that could benefit the community and have a lot of good impact. And then number 5, I think, is the entrepreneurial spark in me. The fact that I was always able to think, yeah, okay, so I'm going to get grant funding, but I'm not going to be completely reliant on that. I'm also going to do my photography and do other paid income streams to top up my own earnings. And this helped me be sustainable long term, because I was able to freelance and do photography work. And then I also did other work, events work and things. And then I was able to balance the CIC, so I wasn't totally reliant on grant funding. It's quite hard for you to maintain a living if you're only looking at grant funding. So definitely having some other backup income, some other entrepreneurial things going on was definitely a reason why I was able to hit the ground running straight away. In my first year, I was in profit and earning more than I was as a probation officer. So I hope that helps you have a think about what it takes to really set up a CIC. Now, that's just my experience. Everyone comes from really varied backgrounds of experience. Some people haven't, had a professional life. They've used their life experience to start a CIC. And others are more professional, and they might not be artists like me. They may come at it from a different direction again. So everybody's different. There's no rule, but hopefully just hearing my story helps you think about what is possible and what skill sets you can bring to the table. So if you'd like to know more, I'm actually doing a free masterclass this Sunday at 7 o'clock. So I'm going to put the link in the description. So just sign up to that. It is free. So I'll be giving you lots of information in there about how to set up a CIC, and there'll be time for questions as well.